Hello, in this video I'm going to read out from George Orwell's Shooting an Elephant. This is a narrative essay. Okay, this is found on page 43 of your textbook. When I pulled the trigger, I did not hear the bang or feel the kick. But I heard the devilish roar of glee that went up from the crowd. In that instant, a mysterious, terrible change had come over the elephant. He neither stirred nor fell, but every line of his body altered. He looked suddenly immensely old. At last, after what seemed a long time, it might have been 5 seconds, he fell to his knees. I fired again into the same spot. At the second shot, he did not collapse, but climbed with desperate slowness to his feet and stood weakly upright. I fired a third time. That was the shot that did for him. You could see the agony of it jolt his whole body and knock the last strength from his legs. But in falling, he seemed for a moment to rise. Like a huge rock toppling, his trunk reaching skyward like a tree. He trumpeted for the first and only time. And then down he came, his belly towards me, with a crash that shook the ground. Now, this is a part of a narrative essay. Now, I told you that we'll take a look at how this essay, this narrative essay, has also certain characteristic features that I had mentioned in my previous video. Now, the first thing that I mentioned was that of a plot, right? So when we read this itself, we understand that there is a kind of a sequential kind of an order in which there's some kind of a story is being told. There is some kind of a narration that is being made there. So, this is obviously about the shooting of an elephant, and the sequence is actually noted, or we note the sequence by taking a look at the number of times that the shots are fired. Alright, the first time, the second time, the third time. That gives us the hint that it is progressing. This is some kind of a narration that is progressing. Now, if you take a look at the setting, alright, setting, obviously this might be a place where elephants are found. Maybe it's a forest, or maybe it's a wild elephant that has come into a place where human dwellings are there. Alright, so that kind of a setting is there, and it definitely must not have been the night time, because the narrator is able to see very clearly that about the the way in which the elephant falls down. Okay, that is the thing that's there. So the setting is something which might be a very rural place where the elephant is seen. Now, you also find that the point of view, take a look at the first line you have, when I pulled the trigger. I told you it might be a first person narrative, a second person, or a third person. Whenever we have the first person narrative, we always have the I. So when you write the narrative essay, you can choose the kind of point of view that you need to have. Do you want to write with an I, or do you want to write about someone else? Okay, so here in this particular extract, you have the first person point of view when I. Alright, that is something that's there. Take a look at, there is nothing similar like that of a conflict, but if you read the whole of it, maybe what is there between a man and and nature, because elephant is something which is a part of, even human beings are part of nature. Maybe this elephant was an elephant that had disturbed human beings, so maybe this was the antagonist, and this I who has got the gun is the protagonist. Alright, that conflict is there, and definitely the resolution is also there when the elephant is shot dead. Alright, so you find that this narration is something, even though we only have 3 paragraphs here, you have a kind of an order that is being followed here. So when we write narrative essays, what are the other things that we should keep in mind? That is what we're going to take a look at here. So we have already noticed that in a narrative essay, the writer's personal experience is something that is narrated. All right, so see to it that when it is a narration, let it be a kind of a personal experience. You can use any kind of point of view, but then often it is the first as well as or the third person point of view that is used. Now we have seen what a thesis statement is, right? Which actually tells us what we can expect in that essay. So in this narrative essay too, you can have a thesis statement, but then it is not like the kinds of thesis statements that you find in, let's say, a research paper. All right, it can be explicit or it can also be implied. Now, transition phrases can be used. Let's go back to the extract that we had read. Now, if you take a look at it, take a look at the second paragraph. At last, after what seemed a long time. So, that's a transition. This person has been waiting, and after some time, there is a change that has taken place. Look at the next line, next sentence. At the second shot. All right. So once again, the narrator, you get the idea that the narrator is shooting for the second time. Look at the third paragraph. I fired a third time. So it talks about, how changes are taking place. Now, transition phrases would be your phrases like that of this at last, all right? Or you can also find that was the shot that did him. All right, so they actually tell us that you are moving from the first one to the second one. All right, or at the second shot, it is a transition. Transition means that you are moving from the first one point to the next one. So in a narrative essay, please don't forget to make use of transition phrases. Then, in a narrative essay, the writer sustains the interests of the reader by building curiosity. Now, I'm sure you must have all thought of why this elephant is shot, or how is it that, when did this take place, or how is it that this author or this narrator was called in to shoot this elephant. So there is a number of things that's there. Now, so when the narrator writes, or when you write a narrative essay, see to it that it is interesting, and interesting not just in the introductory part, till the end it must be interesting. You can also make use of dialogues or descriptions, okay, to sustain the interest. Visualization is something that is very important in narration. That is, when you read something, you must be able to visualize it. You must be able to see the things as if it has taken place right in front of your eyes. Now, when we have read George Orwell shooting the elephant, you know that the elephant is somewhere very far off. Or if you take a look at the way in which the elephant falls, all right, you feel that it is like a huge rock that is falling upon you. So, the author makes use of words to help you visualize. In your mind, you're able to imagine how the elephant was shot and how the elephant falls down. All right, so this is something that is very, very important. You must place a lot of importance to the visual imagery, all right, through your words. And the conflicts and problems are also used. All right, so I have already mentioned we do not know, because this is an extract, we do not know as to why the elephant came into this place where human beings are there, or why is it that the author was called to shoot the elephant. All right, but definitely conflicts and problems are also used to sustain the suspense within the reader. All right, and it leads to a resolution. I hope with these two videos, you have got some kind of an idea as to what a narrative essay is, and perhaps you will be able to write a narrative essay. Now, for instance, if you're asked to write, describe a journey, okay, on a particular day, you can actually make use of, of course, maybe you might not have all the kinds of conflicts and resolutions, but at least certain things like that of you making use of words to help in visualization, or the point of view that you can adapt is something that you must follow. Thank you.